Greetings, Warden, and welcome back once again to another development update. My name is Kamikaze, lead developer behind Solar Warden. In this video, wanted to demonstrate off the latest in the Planetary Defense Interface, or PDI. This interface acts as kind of the central command hub for the rest of the metagame that you'll experience in Solar Warden. In this video, I wanted to demonstrate off how you will be able to command your fleets of the Solar Warden to engage the silicoid threat before they manage to bombard the planet with their meteors. In order to do so, we can actually look at the left-hand side of the screen here, where we have the Fleet Management tab. And in here we can actually see the Alpha Squad is currently engaged in some combat, so let's go ahead and zoom in on them to see what's going on. So it looks like they're currently engaging in some dogfighting with the silicoid, but they're in some rough shape. So let's go ahead and send over some reinforcements to them. Fortunately, we have Sigma Fleet over here next to Zenith Station, and currently their scopes are clear, so they're available to be sent over to aid Alpha Squad. So how do we do that? We can actually quickly, with the view here, we can actually look at expanding out the grid, the geocentric grid that we have relative to the planet, and this allows us to determine any sort of orbit height that we wish to initiate commands to fleets to be able to fly to those locations, or issue attack move commands, or holding positions at certain locations. So in this setup, we can actually initiate our height relative to the meteor cluster that's getting pretty close to Earth here. So let's go ahead and send them over to this location. Now, with Sigma Fleet, as they're flying at full speed, currently they're not really going to get very far, since this orbit area is actually really big around the planet. So let's go ahead and tell them to actually initiate their mag drives in order to arrive at that particular location pretty quickly. In order to initiate specific commands, we can actually go down to the bottom tab here, the command fleet. Whichever ones are actually selected in terms of their fleets, they'll be able to be issued specific commands here. And now that they've arrived, they've actually changed over into a hold position order. And now while they're holding position, they'll actually look at engaging every enemy in the area, as well as any meteors inside of the cluster. Now that we've ordered the Sigma Fleet to actually head on over here, we can actually look at including Alpha Squadron, which seems to have stayed relatively well. Looks like Polar Bear didn't actually die in this situation. Normally Polar Bear dies for me a lot. We can actually look at combining their fleets together by selecting both of these guys in Alpha Squadron and looking at combining them with Sigma Fleet. In order to do that, we can go down into the bottom tab here that opens up the Move to Fleet command, and we'll move every one of them that are selected in Alpha Squad over into Sigma Fleet. And now we can see here that Polar Bear and T-Rex are now combined with them. So any particular commands that we decide to order to them, such as a new hold position, they will then accommodate that same order, since they're now combined in that same fleet. And it looks like Sigma's actually doing pretty well with finishing off every one of the silicoid that are coming out of here. Fortunately, we have two corvettes here that are actually pretty well at doing some pretty critical damage here against some of the silicoid. And the corvettes are also really good at breaking apart these asteroids. So it makes it pretty quick and dismantling these smaller clusters pretty quickly with the corvettes. Of course, you got to be wary of all the small little engagement fighters, and this is why we have a lot of the Icaruses that are around. But of course, since this is Solar Warden, we don't have to be doing this only in our command structure here, but we can actually look at engaging them directly ourselves. And as soon as Sigma fleet destroys this last meteor, we can actually look at engaging another meteor cluster. There we are. Now that the scopes are clear, we can actually look at what are the other threats that are around as well. So it looks like we have another one that's actually over near Rio de Janeiro, and it looks like it's coming in on the South America side. And it looks like it's going to hit just off of like Chile and Argentina. So we can go ahead and look at lining up our fleet to command them over to the same location. We got to get the right height. There we are. And now let's look at sending them over and activating their mag drive. Excellent. Here we are. Now that Sigma is engaging as well, let's look at including ourselves in this combat. So we can head over to our hangar and look at joining them ourselves. And let's go help them out. So it looks like they're engaging this meteor cluster. Let's initiate our mag drive to head on over. Targets are you guys engaging here? There we go. Let's get this larva. Yeah. Alright. Making quick work of this. Whoa, looks like we got a lot of firepower here. This is pretty awesome. Alright. So, while my fleet is also engaging this, the mega meteors as well are going to pose kind of a problem to my fleet and my AI fleet, since they're not very much equipped to actually take out the mega meteors. The Hyperion is with his giant Gauss cannon, but it's better recommended that you go in yourself and take some of the higher yield explosive devices and actually take them out on the inside yourself. And there's a grub chasing me. Why is there a grub chasing me? Why isn't my fleet taking him out? Alright, there we go. Now that he's off of me, I'm going to actually head into this mega meteor, and we will explore the mega meteors in the next development update. Alright, thanks for watching.